launching today at one of my informal access, creative access points I call them. Just a little drag down from a dirt road up there to a spot that is right next to a nice winter hole. It's late winter and these fish are, a lot of them are still in the winter holes. I think some of the bigger ones may have up and left, but I'm gonna go find out there today. All right, I'm motoring up here. Coming up on, there's actually some old bridge abutments here that produce some fairly nice eddies. So I'm surprised, I'm actually delighted at how much clarity we do have. This is actually kind of green. I can look out on the other bank and see that it's muddy. It's definitely a brown color, but this eddy right here, probably from some tributary upstream that's already, you know, in the 4 days since it's rained pretty hard, is cleared out this spot. So nice green color. I'm gonna go ahead and drop anchor and see if I can't get someone to wake up and eat. Breakfast time. Wake up! Wake up, fishies. Alright. First one of the day. Decided to search water a little bit more than that soft jerkbait was doing. Went with a hard jerkbait. Still wasn't moving it a lot. Flip over, fish. Just kind of letting it drift. Up in the top of this eddy is actually a circular current swinging along the bank and curving up around, and he was right on the inside of that turn. So, fairly lethargic compared to what I was having the other day. I even got some that jumped the other day, and we've dropped water temperature a good bit. I think we were up into the mid 40s briefly on Tuesday when we were out. And this guy just kind of glommed on there. Not much of a fight. I think we're down below 40 again. I checked the USGS gauge, and that'll give me an indication on whether the water temp's coming up or going down, and it's been going down ever since that rain. It was not a particularly warm rain. All right, nice 18 1/4 incher on that Lucky Craft Pointer 128. Again, bigger bait for muddier water. Let's go ahead and let him go. See a fishy. Yep, he's cold. We have a circular current going back upstream along this bank, and as it comes up to that eddy, it turns and comes out this way. That fish was right on the inside turn, right there. I've got daffodils blooming at home, and last night when I was out on the porch injecting some of these soft plastics, I could hear in the distance the spring peepers at a local drainage pond. But it's still winter. Nice one. All right, got a real nice 19 incher here. Hit this bait, the Caney Creek craw, on a I'll just call it a prototype jig that I've been working on. We'll go ahead and let this beautiful fish back in the water. And I've made them such that there are rattles in there, and the skirt I'm tying has a combination of round rubber and silicone, just like our finesse jig, our Confidence Baits finesse jig, but this one's on a much bigger hook. That's on a 5/0 hook, whereas the finesse jig's on a 3/0. So This one may become a Confidence Baits product in the near future. Good for some larger plastics like this Caney Creek craw. Both the jig fish and the jerkbait fish were just there. I didn't really feel them crunch it or hit it or anything, and they were both times the bait was sitting there a long time, which is indicative of a mood of the fish of negative or it matches the fact that the water temperature has gone. It's warmed up nicely earlier in the week to to the mid 40s, and then it's dropped right back down, and I think we're at about 39 and a half today. So that downward trend really can slow things down. Tuesday I got 24. Today I'm struggling, and I only got the 2, but they were 2 good ones, and it took dead sticking, some fairly large profiled baits to get those 2 bites. All right, I'm calling it a day. This snow / sleet has changed over to really nasty cold rain, so I think we're done. So this is the eddy that I was fishing the other day, and what we have here is a big, it's an old bridge abutment, and there's a little scrub island here below it, and here's the shoreline. And out here you have just screaming fast water. The river was high, and it was just, you'd have trouble holding the current out here, just paddling to hold your position. So I moved into this eddy. This is me in the kayak anchored up, and you have a big circular current here, and sometimes on these longer eddies with something that obstructs that much current, you'll have a secondary one that'll form. You'll have the one up here, and the secondary one down here can be just as good as the top one. But whatever the case is, you want to look at and really just get yourself stationary. And I anchored up, or you can get on shore and just before you even start casting, look at what's going on out there. And what I look at, and the way that I marked this still water in the middle with these dots, these are little foam bubbles. And it's the same way that I'm judging the foam bubbles out here. They're just moving. These long streaks are, foam bubbles. If I could do a time-lapse photography of this, you'd see these foam bubbles as streaks, and these ones would stay right where they were. Now yesterday, the jerkbait fish that I got early was right on the inside of this seam. Okay, I cast over here with the jerkbait, and I wasn't in the faster water, nowhere near this fast, but there was a pretty good current clipping along in the upstream direction along that bank. On the inside of that, it was a little bit slower. So that fish was somewhere in the middle of this eddy, on the inside turn of this current when he intercepted that jerkbait. And the other one, I'd actually repositioned to the bank and was casting out, and he was right out in the middle. That was on that Caney Creek craw, a crayfish bait, and it was just sitting there. But whatever the situation is, you have to get yourself stationary so that you can visually assess what these foam bubbles are doing on the surface of the water. And once you do that, once you dissect the eddy and you get yourself stationary and you figure out, hey, they're mostly in the middle, or hey, they're out on the current seam if they're real aggressive, or they're up at the top of the eddy or the bottom of the eddy, or sometimes where 2 currents converge and then split, there's actually an area, a little corner in here where there's some real calm water along that shoreline where it comes in. It looks like it's going to slam right into it, but it splits. Visually dissect the eddy and figure out, you know, what are my hot spots? Where was my bait? Where was my suspending jerk bait, my tube, my jig, whatever you have, when it got bit? And that's going to tell you, you know, what the feeding stations are, where these fish feel that they're going to find the food. And yesterday, you know, I think with 38-degree water, you know, they were pretty much on the inside of this eddy. As we progress into spring, sure, they're going to get out here on this current seam and really intercept a lot of fish, a lot of forage that's moving by quickly. Feel like you've learned a lot about what you just watched? It's only the tip of the iceberg. This is my DVD set, all about catching river smallmouth. This first one is basically a video version of the class that I taught on the water for years, called River Kayak Fishing Skills. The next three are seasonal tactics DVDs for river smallmouth. Summer, fall, and winter. This one's 2 hours long. This one's almost 2 hours long. A whole lot of information on how to catch these fish. And I'm currently working on a spring DVD as well. For the DVD series, I recruited a couple experts, Chris Gorsuch and Juan Varut, and they helped me teach a lot of these critical concepts for river smallmouth fishing. So if you want to learn some more, get a copy of some of my DVDs available at confidencebaits.net.